Who's ready to get this started? And the gate is down. Willie gets a good jump on the inside. Is he going to be able to pull the hole shot? No, it looks like it was going to be... No, it is Willie getting the hole shot. No, I'm sorry. I was wrong. That was Drew Anderson as he makes a mistake and goes down. That's going to be Willie, Zeke, and Hunter. Your top three coming back up the uphill as Willie almost scrubs too hard and goes down. But Zeke's right there on his tail. I thought he was going to be the one that's going to be able to challenge Willie, and so far it looks like that's what's happening. Let's try to watch the rest of this pack come through here. Jump back up here to the leaders and see what's going on. Looks like Willie and Zeke. Yeah, Zeke's right there on the back tire of Willie, trying to not let him get away as they have already stretched themselves out. And it looks like we did have Hunter, who was up there in P3. He fell back. It's actually going to move Jam actually into that P3 spot with LV sitting there behind him. And I don't even know how to pronounce it. Papalito. Sitting there in looks like the P5 spot. And there's Hunter. Go back to P6. Like Willie and Zeke are able to stretch that lead out a little bit more. Try to watch some of these guys come down this hill. Like a good group of riders right there battling for third. Trying to see if our second place in points is here somewhere. Haven't seen his name. As they are now on the green flag lap. And it is still Willie and Zeke up there in the lead. Zeke's still trying to hunt him down, but Willie is not no slouch. We know his speed, especially how he did last week. I'm gonna go ahead and go to the ARL cameras. Switch over here to watch this battle some more. You on, Willie? Yep. Yeah, it's working. It just took a minute to just go back here to see, like, there's still a battle going on back here. Is actually who's one of the guys that was bumped out of the class last night in AMs. He's sitting in P6 currently, right behind Jam. Looks like one of our battles going on right here. As Sigma is actually trying to make the move around the outside on Jam, and he's able to get up on the inside on the next corner. He does make the pass, makes that pass for P5. As Jam makes a little mistake and goes off the side of the track, hopefully that counts his lap, and Cooper's right there behind him, not too far behind. While the front two runners have pulled away from the rest of this pack. Actually, it looks like it was Hunter down off the side of the track right there. That's going to move Sigma up into the P4 spot. And LV looks like he just went down in that corner down below. That's going to put these guys even closer to the P3 spot. But Willie and Zeke have definitely pulled away and gapped the rest of this pack. But this is a very good battle going on back here for looks like going to be the P3 spot. It's about 4 riders in the same straightaway, while Hunter's trying to catch back up after losing that P4 spot. Yeah. I mean, when he has a 1.5 second faster lap than him in qualifying. I mean, it's kind of hard to catch that pace. As Jam actually goes down and is going to lose that P5 spot to, looks like it was Hunter. Hunter was right there to capitalize on that mistake. But right now it looks like Sigma's actually catching up and passing LV for P3. Just gets a better drive through him through the rollers and is able to make the pass. As now it's a three-rider battle for P3 currently, with Cooper. Looks like he's finally caught up into this mix and put himself right there. LV trying to go down on the inside to make the pass back, but he's not able to make it happen. As he goes off track, that's actually going to allow Cooper to get around him. It's going to move Cooper up into the P4 spot. Go back here and check on Hunter. Hunter's trying to make a drive, trying to catch up to these guys that are ahead of him. What happened to Jam? Looks like he fell back a little bit. Got passed again by ZX. Hang's not too far behind, and there's a good little gap back to Kyron. And Rico actually has there's a good battle going back here for P11. Rico, Benderson, and Fearless. As I just watched someone fly off the track. I'm not sure who that was. It looks like this battle is heating back up here, and I come back at it at the right time. It is Cooper making the pass around Sigma to jump into that P3 spot, and it looks like LV was able to make the move on Sigma also. That's going to shuffle him back into the P5 spot. It looks like up front, Zeke trying to hold that gap stable right around 5 seconds. We'll see what he'll be able to do, as we still have over 20 minutes left of this race plus 2 laps. As there's still plenty of time, and if Willie makes mistakes, Zeke's not too far behind him, and he could capitalize on that, at least bring this battle a little bit closer. Yeah. He's so smooth and just, he's not touchy at all on the sticks. He's just very smooth at what he does, but he's very fast, and it's scary when you get people like that in this game, because they just start to dominate. Yeah. Trying to see if there's anything else going on. Looks like Cooper has definitely solidified that P3 spot, at least on track, as LV was actually able to get a good run up that inside, trying to catch back up to Cooper, as he has him, looks like, on cuts for that P3 spot. Looks like Sigma's dropped back just a little bit from these guys. Come back here, check on ZX, has made his way up into the P6 spot. Looks like Jam fell quite a ways back almost. He's back here with Tang and Kyron for that P10 spot. No, I'm sorry, that would be for P8, I believe. Yeah. As Jam makes a mistake and goes off track and kind of does a pretty big track cut, missing that whole first section coming up the hill. Someone went down in the background. Who was that back there? That was Kyron. That mistake allowed this pack behind him to start catching up to him, as it looks like this battle is still going on for this P11 spot, or sorry, P12 spot, between Rico, Benderson, Mando, and looks like Chris is leading up the back of it. What happened to Peerless? He was up here with these guys. Oh, he still is. Just looks like he has a few cuts that are affecting him. I just wish more of these guys would send their kits in. I know they're all running kits, but I mean, at least send your gear in, you know? You don't gotta send in your bike, just at least being able to see your gear would be nice. As this battle is not going anywhere ahead of him between Benderson, Rico, and Benderson actually slides out, goes down off that jump, somehow does not actually crash, but he is going to lose the position to Peerless. But up here, looks like Rico was able to get ahead of Kyron and has solidified that P11 spot, as Gustavo is now sitting kind of all by himself out in that P10 spot, rounding out your top 10. And just kind of, really. And Zeke's not far behind him. As I'll come up here, try to watch this. Maybe Zeke's trying to put in a little bit of a push, try to catch back up to him, but that gap was, yeah, it was just at 6 seconds, so that must have been a pretty good mistake from Willie. He lost about 4 seconds. Yeah. Oh, he is. Willie is down. That's going to be a change for the leader. That's actually going to be Zeke moving up into the lead. And Zeke goes down, and Willie almost gets into him, not allowing Willie to actually hit that tabletop. But right when Zeke gets the lead, the next corner, he goes down. That's not what you want to do when you get the lead from that guy. And now the gap is going to be stretched back out to probably about 4.5 seconds. That was a pretty big get off for Zeke, as he makes another mistake right there, just allowing Willie to pull away even more. Go back here, check on Cooper. He's been able to really pull away from these guys that were behind him. He now has looks like about a 7-second gap back to Sigma, who now made his way past LV for the 4th spot. As LV just went down and Hunter's right there to claim it, so that's going to move Hunter actually up into the P5 spot. And if I'm not mistaken, ZX has now made his way up and right behind these guys. And Tang's not too far behind him. Jam sitting back here in the P9 spot with, looks like Gustavo making a little bit of a mistake, but trying to catch up to these guys. And it looks like Rico is also making a push, bringing this pack along with him. And this battle really from, let's see, it would be from 7th all the way back to, I would say Rico right here is less than 10-second gap. So anything can still happen. Zeke went down. Yes, he is. It looks like he almost kind of made the same mistake he did the lap before. Maybe that's where he lost a bunch of time again. Let's see if Zeke is actually able to make it through this corner this time. He is. He's able to stay on 2 wheels. And just when we were talking about Willie's consistency, it's kind of biting him right now. You know, we know he has the speed. As he's down again, so that's going to actually allow Zeke to get a little bit of a gap. And we've seen Zeke was able to keep the gap right about 5 seconds. So I wonder if Willie was just pacing himself, as they're already getting into lappers as Dylan is down. Hopefully Willie's able to avoid him. Yeah, Dylan's being smart and pulls off to the side, but Zeke is already really starting to stretch this gap out, which is kind of surprising to say. I mean, we know he's no slouch, and we know he's not slow. Okay. We'll go ahead and watch him for a second, see if he's able to get through this. Looks like these few sections right here are the ones he's struggling with the most, so maybe he just needs to calm down a little bit, not try to go so fast through him, and let the race come to him. But the gap is almost back out to 5 seconds, but that's going to go into the favor of Zeke now instead of Willie. And Willie hasn't had to deal with much of this lately. He hasn't had to be the one to pick up the pace to catch these guys. So I guess we'll see what happens, as we're almost halfway through this race. And yeah, we know he has the speed to catch him, but if he keeps on making mistakes like he is, it's just going to allow Zeke to get, and he makes another little mistake right there. Zeke is down off the track. That's going to put Willie right back up into the lead. Yeah, they're jumping into that outside, and they're getting a bounce, and it's throwing them over the berm. I just watched it almost happen to Willie. It's just how hard these guys are pushing. I mean, they have gapped Cooper by almost 20 seconds with all their mistakes they're having. Yeah. As looks like Sigma, actually LV has caught back up to Sigma, and he's right there as Dylan getting lapped by these guys now just goes wide. It looks like LV went down there after the finish, and ZX is right there to capitalize on it. It's actually going to move ZX up into that P5 spot. And what happened to Hunter? Hunter fell way back behind these guys. It actually allows Tang on timing and scoring to get ahead of him because of cuts. Yep, they're drag racing up the hill. Looks like Willie's going to be able to get down to that inside and shut the door on Zeke. Yeah, Zeke doesn't want to give this one up as we are now at our halfway point through this race. As I would like to thank Zero, one of our sponsors. They do our pro prizes for this weekend. So the overall podium guys will be getting a little bit of something sent to them probably early on this week. So I would like to shout them out. They're becoming a pretty big brand in this game and IRL also. So it was really cool of them to jump on board and throw some prizes together for these pro guys because they really do deserve it. Yeah, I noticed that. I'm going to go ahead and go back and check on the rest of the pack. Let me know if anything else develops up here. Any lappers get in the way. Just check on a few of these guys. Looks like ZX was able to make the move around Sigma at some point. What just happened? Okay. He went down. Let me find his number. 548. There. As Willie goes down, actually, in that corner. Let me know if Willie's able to catch up with these guys. I'm going to go back here, check on Cooper. He's kind of all by himself up into that P3 spot still. And ZX is probably about 5 seconds behind him. LV sitting there. Looks like Sigma dropped back. A lot of these guys are spread out now later on into this moto. But Jam and Gustavo, actually, Gustavo has been sitting in that P10 spot. He's trying to make the move for P9. Or, I'm sorry, actually, he's still in P10. It was Jam and P11. So Jam has him on track, but not on timing and scoring. So Gustavo's still sitting in that P10 spot. That's still a solid place to finish against some of these guys because we have some speed in this class. Gustavo's actually able to make the move on Jam as he makes a mistake in that corner and almost goes down. See if there's any bar banging going on back here in the back of the pack. Is a lot of these guys are close, but just kind of trying to keep it smooth and consistent. Rico looks like he dropped back into the P18 spot. And then the other Rico sitting back here in 20th with Twister and 21st. Wow, these lappers. So that's what I was saying. So Zeke is the one going through these lappers. I believe Hunter, no, not Hunter. Yeah, Hunter is the next one on the list to get lapped. No, different Hunter. There's two Hunters in here. That's Hunter with HSP. The other Hunter's with a TCR. Yeah. I'll go back here, check on Cooper. LV's trying to close the gap on Cooper, but he's just not being able to do it. Cooper's been sitting here in this P. Oh, I'm sorry, actually. ZX was able to get around Cooper at some point, and I missed it. So ZX is now actually into that P3 spot after Cooper was really doing very well early on in this moto and staying there in that P3 spot. But now ZXRE with the Ramen Co. Motion Works ride has now moved his way up into the podium position for this first moto. as Sigma actually, I see, has retired out of this race. As ZX goes down hard off the track, is Cooper going to be able to capitalize? Yes, he is. Cooper gets that P3 spot back from ZX. Let's see where LV is. LV is now caught up from that mistake from ZX right on the back tire of him. So now this is going to be a battle for P4 going on, as they both dive down to the inside, funnel into the inside of that rut, and see if they both get a good drive up this hill. What? I mean, race pace, you got to remember that, and these guys really have been battling. The gap is now up to 7 seconds, as Willie's trying to make his way around a few of these lappers. Yeah. As ZX and LV looks like they're starting to put the charge on trying to catch back up to Cooper, we may have a three-way battle right now brewing for the P3 spot. Jam, who was up there in the top 10 early on, looks like he dropped back and has retired out of this race. Cooper makes a mistake right there. That's going to allow ZX to catch back up to him. As ZX goes around the outside, he's going to get a better drive over this and be able to cut him off on the inside. He's not able to, as he gets into the dolphin fin right there and goes down. That's actually going to move LV up into the P4 spot, with Cooper still sitting there in P3. So that was a big mistake from ZX, as he is just now coming across the whole shot line. So let's see if he'll be able to remount a charge and catch back up to these guys, as LV took that inside and was able to close the gap down quite a bit on Cooper. As Zeke has actually stretched out his lead to almost 8 seconds now on Willie. Is Willie having problems getting through lappers? Or is he just... Huh. No, yeah, I went and checked on him, but yeah, gap's almost up to a solid 8 seconds. Looks like, I don't know what happened. Cooper must have went down hard, because he is now way behind these guys, but it's LV up into that P3 spot with ZX right behind him now. As now LV's coming into these lappers. Yeah, because he is way far behind now. ZX actually made a mistake before the tunnel jump, and it's going to allow Cooper to close back up on him. Yeah, no, LV is now just been able to pull out about a 3-second gap on ZX. And it looks like on timing and scoring, Cooper has ZX because of cuts. So it shouldn't be that bad, because they're pretty close to each other. Actually, no. Yeah, no, they're right there. Yeah. No, he made that big mistake before the tunnel jump and lost a lot of time. Okay, so I think ZX only has about a second of cuts, because it takes Cooper to be basically right on his back tire to get the pass from him on timing and scoring. LV has now been able to stretch out almost an 8-second gap on P4, though. So from all the mistakes that was being made from ZX and Cooper, allowed LV to get up into that P3 spot and be able to pull away from these guys. Six. Oh yeah, Tang and Hunter. Just looks like it, timing and scoring wise, but they're a little bit separated. They're about a jump and a half apart. Yeah, cuts. Yep. Go back here. It looks like PSIC and Benderson are actually going at it. Benderson trying to get the drag race on the Cowie down the hill. He jumps to the inside and he goes down. Yeah, I don't know what he was trying to do there, but they were going to collide if he didn't go down. So that's actually going to allow Mando to get the pass on Benderson, moving Mando up into that P10 spot. And it looks like Crispy is now there on the back tire of Benderson. with Braxton, I believe, right there in the P14 spot, not far behind these guys. As it looks like, I just seen Zeke in the background. I think Zeke is lapped all the way up to Pureless in P15. Let me look. Yeah, he has lapped. No, he hasn't. He's pretty close to Pureless. He's about a section away. But he's lapped up to P16. He is, but there's less than 5 minutes left of this race, plus 2 laps, so we'll be able to see. I mean, I know lappers could be affecting Zeke a little bit, because he did go through another big pack of them. Yeah. Cooper makes a mistake and actually goes down. That might allow... where's Tang at? Tang's still pretty far behind, so... But Cooper made a mistake and lost a lot of time to ZX, so... As of right now, I see Willie did cut down almost another full second on Zeke's time. So maybe Willie, finding his rhythm late in this moto, we'll be able to see if he's able to remount a charge to catch back up to Zeke, or maybe Zeke makes a mistake. But right now, everyone is pretty spread out as Cooper's just trying to get through the lappers. Yeah. Looks like our only battle kind of just ended. It was Braxton and Mando. Braxton was able to make the pass on Mando because Mando made a pretty big mistake. But Benderson's right there coming back on track, so now it's a three-way battle for the P11 spot from what it looks like. I'm sorry for P10 because Crispy's right there also, so there's almost 5 riders right here. Is actually Benderson makes a mistake, so it's about a 4-rider battle. 4 looks like going to be the P10 spot. I know. Yeah, he was actually able to lap Pureless. But yeah, no, Zeke is not far behind this pack. Benderson did make a mistake, so he has to pass Benderson, and he'll catch up to this pack. As there's less than 2.5 minutes left on the time card, so we'll see what he'll be able to do, if he'll be able to keep Willie at bay and be able to keep that gap there, as I just watched it shrink almost to another full second. So this is... He's gaining so much in that second sector, and I think it's where he was making those mistakes early on. As Zeke makes a mistake, and he has to... Yeah, but he has to push his bike, so that's actually going to move Willie up into the lead now. If I do my math right about here, we should have about 3 laps left of this race, depending on where they cross the finish line. I know these guys have pretty fast lap times, so we'll see what happens. Is that what it is? Okay. Willie sees he has that lead now, and he's trying to stretch this gap back out, but we'll see. Zeke has been riding really well in Moto 1, as this track is already starting to get pretty brutal, and they still have 30 minutes, another 30-minute plus 2 Moto coming at them. So we'll definitely see in the second Moto of them switching up some lines. As I know this track does erode very well, but once it gets beat up, there's not too many lines on this track to switch around to. Yeah, because through the braking bumps, you start getting kickers in them pretty bad, and yeah, because you're on the power all the way down the hills on this track. It's not like we're, racing Mount Morris to where you can't really be on the power coming down those hills because they're so steep. So you're kind of just being consistent, trying to keep the throttle consistent, but Hangtown's one of those tracks you just leave it pinned coming down the hills. Yeah. This track sweeps very well. I've said that in the past of how well, and it looks like they have caught up to these guys that are Looks like, so they have caught up to Benderson. That's what it is. So now Willie's trying to get around Benderson. As they do, they were able to cross the finish line. So now as timing has expired, they will have 3 laps left. That's crazy. I did not think they were going to be able to get that. So that means they ran under 143s that lap. Right? 145. So maybe timing was just a little bit off, you know, when they crossed the finish line. Sometimes the seconds aren't perfect. As Benderson's not really moving, as he needs to get out of the way and respect the blue flag of these guys. It's really holding Willie up. Zeke has Willie right now because of cuts, because how close he was able to get. So now but let's see if Zeke will be able to get around Benderson or if he'll have the same problem. I think he'll be able to. I think he'll be able to get around him right there. Yeah, he was able to. I mean, I get it. These guys got their own battle going on, but they got to move for these leaders. As I really don't want to go away from this battle, as I see other battles brewing between ZX and LV back there. I'll give these guys a break for a second. They're pretty close. Well, let's go see. Just let me know what goes on. It looks like ZX was able to make the move around LV, so LV might have made a mistake. But it looks like these guys are... Zeke went down. He did. As now this time by will be 2 laps left of this race. Next time by will be white flag. As Willie was able to get back the lead and almost put a 5-second gap because of that mistake from Zeke. See how ZX and LV are doing. Looks like ZX was able to claim that P3 spot as of right now. Riding for Ramen Co. and Motion Works. Cooper sitting back there in P5 kind of all by himself right now. Everything else is pretty much tamed out, as I just see someone going tumbling off the track. That was actually Gustavo. Willie's just trying to get through a bunch of lappers right now, and he's kind of able to get around quite a few of them, looks like, right there in that uphill section. As Willie goes down, he makes a big mistake, and he's down hard, and his bike won't get back up. That's going to put Zeke right there. So now Zeke has been able to catch up to the back tire of Willie. This is going to come down to a last lap battle. Let's hope neither of them make mistakes, and we're actually going to be able to see a battle out of this race. Yeah. As they're starting to take that outside. Oh my gosh, what just happened? Willie got into the lapper, and Zeke makes a mistake also, but look at this group of lappers behind Zeke as they all get back around him. I mean, I think it was just a net code thing, but look at this. These lappers are not moving, but they're also in a big race of their own. Where is Willie? What happened to him? He is way far behind now. Yeah. As now, looks like Zeke is able to get back ahead of Willie on this final lap. I'll go back here and just focus up on him and watch Zeke come across, trying to complete this final lap, as it has just been back and forth all race between Zeke and Willie. I mean, I understand why these lappers aren't moving, but at least get out of the preferred line. Like, I know they're racing of their own. Like, this is top 10 right now for them, or not top 10, but yeah, they're right there. But yeah, but I don't think he's holding up Zeke too much. I think Zeke knows the gap now and is taking it easy this last lap, because it doesn't look like he's truly pushing. Oh shit! There's Willie. Willie was able to. Oh, how did he catch up so fast? So maybe Zeke was getting held up a lot, as he was finally able to get around Gustavo. But that did not look like a 12-second gap there through that rhythm. Maybe Willie got a lot of cuts from where he went down at, because he did get sent way off a track. Yeah. But right now, Zeke has your lead in a commanding one at that. As he's coming into the last few sections of this racetrack, we may have a new winner for 250 Pro Moto 1 because Willie kind of sweeped it last week. He went 1-1. So Willie won't have the chance to go undefeated this season as Zeke's coming across the line and he's going to claim P1 for your 250 Pro Moto 1. Zeke, yeah, I think there's quite a bit of cuts involved because he wasn't that far behind. So that's going to be Zeke in first, Willie in second. Looks like ZX. Oh, from that last lap probably, huh? He got a lot, I know. But looks like ZX was able to put the gap on LV and looks like he will be coming across the line in P3. So that's going to be ZX for the Ramen Co Motion Works ride in P3. LV with NGS coming across the line in P4. Cooper kind of just been sitting back here all by himself in the P5 spot, still racing. Trying to just make it to the finish line, reset, try to see what he can do in Moto 2 because I know he was up there in that P3 spot for a long time this race. Probably over half of this race he was up there in that P3 spot. So but this is going to be Cooper coming across the line in P5. Hang sitting back in your P6 spot right now, kind of all by himself also. As he's trying just to finish up this moto, as this track is brutal right now. He's throwing some tricks for the camera. That's Tang crossing the line in P6. Looks like Kyron and Crispy actually going at it right now. I'm sorry, Kyron. I think some cuts are coming into factor, but looks like it is PSIC on track was crossing the line at NP7, but no, he's going to lose it to Crispy. So Crispy P7, TSIC, and P8, and Hunter going back to P9 with Kyron finishing in 10th, Braxton in 11th, Mando in 12th, Benderson in 13th, Peerless in 14th, Chris in 15th, Drew Anderson in 16th, Rico with the Evo team in 17th, Vincent with TTR in 18th, Hunter with HSP in 19th, or Twister in 20th, Gustavo retiring out of this, FMX 22nd, Dylan 23rd, and the rest have retired out of this race.